to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kirsho here. Now then, whenever we last left off, Deku, him, Kirishima, and Momo, they, with the help of another child, or well, boy, were able to take down this predator. Not from the Aliens vs. Predator franchise, I'm talking about an animal. Now, they took it down and were actually able to get it back to camp, Deku being the only one who got injured in the battle. Now, with that being said, it has been 2 to 3 months since that has happened. Deku and everyone else in his group have actually become very good hunters. However, they have lost some people on their hunts, so their numbers are going down. In fact, today Deku actually does notice this whenever everyone walks outside. He realizes that whenever he looks around, he doesn't really see some faces that he knows. Some people he's been paired up with before. But that doesn't really stop him. Deku, he knows that they are going to be going on another hunt today. And this one, from what he's told, will be very hard, since they are specifically instructed to hunt a certain animal. Not only that, but they are going to be wearing specialized suits. The Space Marines, they nickname them the Pain Glove. But that's just it. These aren't gloves, they're full body suits, covering your hands and to your feet, coming up to your neck, basically leaving your head the only thing exposed. Everyone would have gotten changed into these suits and put on the outfits they had over them, since they are basically wearing, armor and a cloak that they were handing out. Whenever they do get these items, everyone would put them on. They would then be instructed that they are going to be going out. They are going to be given a couple days. Since this creature, there are many of them out there. Basically, whoever can bring one back first will be victorious. Another thing, do not be afraid to help your brother or your sister to your left or to your right. The only way for any of you to come out of this alive may be to actually give up that piece of arrogance, for it may be what will get you killed. To which quite a lot of people would somewhat just nod, as they could feel the suits somewhat, hurting their bodies. These suits are specially designed for a Space Marine. Basically, it allows them to stay awake and use pain to focus through it. If you guys don't understand that, just look up the Pain Glove and look into it, because I'm going to be going off the assumption that you guys know what they are. Now, with that, everyone will begin splitting up and actually running off. Deku, he's somewhat still trying to get used to this. It feels weird and, it actually is a bit more painful than he thought, as he's somewhat just standing there thinking about which direction to head in. However, Kirishima, she would just tap onto his shoulder, and Deku would look up. He's a bit confused as to who this is for a minute before she actually does pull off her hood. Deku kinda being in shock. More of her hair is whiter than he remembers, and he just starts to ask her questions, to which she would just try and explain them and answer them. As Deku, he almost forgot to do one thing this morning. He would pull out a small case and open it, as he takes 2 pills. Ever since the last week, they have been instructed to take more of the pills they have been given, actually taking up to 2 or 3 a day. to help build their immune systems and the tolerance to the poisons on this planet. Now, Deku, he would then walk off, Kirishima actually coming with him, as they are instructed that they are not going to be having weapons. They must create and or find them. Now, they understand that a couple kids can use their quirks and, well, do that. They are specifically instructed to not use whoever has the quirks that are offensive, do not use them. You are going to be using weapons, which would make a couple kids mad. Since if they're going to be hunting something very dangerous, they thought they would at least be able to survive it if they use their quirks, and or have an easier time. Now, Deku and Kirishima, they would leave. Now, Deku, he would have started walking in a direction he didn't see a lot of kids going, as he actually just somewhat get into a jog and start running. Now, for about 2 to 3 hours, he would be going in this direction, at a light pace with Kirishima with him. And these two would have found nothing. They only find things that they usually hunt, and track small animals and these deer, as they nickname them. They're not really sure what to call them, and neither are the Space Marines. They just gave them this weird name, which is very hard to pronounce. Now then, they would continue on, as for a full day, they'd be walking this direction. They would try and rest and, well, realize that if they were to try and go to sleep, the suit would keep them awake. Anytime they stop moving, it feels like the suit actually does increase in voltage, and begin to hurt their bodies a bit more. So they would have kept going, realizing exactly what type of test this is, as eventually they would have been awake for over 26 hours, heading in one single direction. Now, these two would stop for a short rest. Deku, he's actually by a river, and he looks down into it. He's making sure that the water is flowing a certain way before he puts his hand in and brings it up. The water on this planet has a certain smell to it. The Marine that is the medical advisor or the apothecary, he has shown them certain things to do. He also does remember a certain way he told them to purify water. Now, Deku, he would look around. It's a bit dark right now, but things should be a bit better later on into the morning. So, he's looking around, and he would find these little balls. They are what can be best described as cotton balls, but they are also not, since they are organic. He would get two of these and start mixing them together and actually rolling them in his hand as he tries to flatten them out. He would then start by dipping it in the water and absorbing the water, as he would pick up a leaf and actually squeeze the water out of it. Grabbing another set of leaves and, well, another one, and laying it on top of these ones, as he does move it in his hands. The way he's cupping the leaf, there is some water left into it, and he would have gotten the leaf on top of it off and slipped the leaf under it off too. These leaves are highly absorbent. As he does so, he would drink the water in his hand. It's a bit weird how they purify it on this planet, but he's not really questioning it. He's used to the weird hunts and things he's learned already. So, he would continue to do this routine. Kirishima somewhat joining him, as while they're doing that, they hear something further up the stream. This sounds a bit weird and, well, they follow it, finding that they have found this creature. Its footprints are weird and whatever it is huge. The imprint being so big that the foot might as well be the size of Deku's head. Now, this is where the two would actually have a bit of trouble. they would climb up into the tree and hide using their robes, using them as a bit of stealth in the dark, as they are trying to come up with a plan. Deku says that they are given a week, so they can stalk around for some time being and try and do this. But we need to... I think we should set a trap for us. Are you sure? How do you know that that'll even work? Well, you gotta remember what we learned in weapons training. Well, I don't think I've gone through that yet. Okay. Well, from the books I've been reading back at home, they talk about survival tactics. Some of them are actually the Space Marine ones, and some from Earth. Earth? Really? We have books from there? Yeah, they didn't take a lot, but this is one of them. Now listen. If we can find a good enough sturdy branch and something to wrap around it, we might be able to make a bow and arrow. Or at least something. Are you sure about that? Yeah, I'm very sure. Now, the two would sneak away, the creature not noticing them, as they would begin getting to work, setting up their trap. Deku, he makes a bow and arrow, and the arrows are actually made from a rock that he just continuously sharpens against another rock, doing so for hours upon hours on end to make more arrows. Kirishima actually helping him by using her quirk and trying to at least cut through these. The two actually making nearly 100 in the first hour, until they do try and come up with more traps and things to do. Deku has an idea. As he walks back through the forest, he says that he saw something around here somewhere. Where is it? Here it is. As he looks at a fallen tree. It is bent over and actually being held up by another tree. So he thinks that if they can chop this one down and lead the creature in here, then they will have a better chance of killing it. Now, Deku, he would hear something close by, as he would turn around and hold up this piece of stone. He holds it up in his hands as it was actually quite a larger piece. He wants to see exactly how big he needs to sharpen something to at least make it useful, since he planned on actually tying this to the end of a bigger stick. He's just holding it up in his hand and trying to find out what that was. He wants to say something, but he decides not to, deciding to instead pick up a smaller rock and throw it into the distance. As soon as the rock clashes around over there, he would hear something scatter, as he would see two robed figures. Immediately realizing that this is more people. Good. We need their help. Now, Deku, he would have finally said something that would break the silence, as he would just say, he knows they're there. We're friendly. As 2 to 3 other people would walk out. They somewhat sigh in relief, and since they kind of thought Deku was something else. The sun is starting to rise now, and it's actually quite much overhead, so they need to hurry up. Deku saying that they found the creature that they're supposed to be taking on. Now, listen, we're both tired, so we're gonna need help. This thing is bigger than we thought. What exactly do you mean bigger? Listen. You guys might not like this, but that thing is bigger than the Space Marines. What? Yeah, listen. Whatever it is, it needs to be killed now. We have an idea. As Deku would just point over to that direction, saying that they have a couple arrows. If they can help them make more weapons, then we can get this done. Fast and easy. Along with, as he would just bring his left hand outwards, onto the tree, saying that this right here can be their secret weapon. With this, we can take it down and actually get it back to camp. But we're not sure why they need it. Now, the kids would somewhat just agree with Deku. He's seen as someone who is at least protective, or will put himself in danger. So he has an admirable quality. Plus, he seems to be someone who can take charge whenever he needs to, but his shy personality will still shine through. So, they would somewhat listen, as they would help Deku create more bows for themselves, and actually get some arrows, as they would get up in the trees and get ready. Deku takes a deep breath in and a deep breath out, as he just holds up his hand. And everyone will begin to do the same. Kirishima, she is with him, saying that this will be a bit difficult, won't it? Yeah, but listen, you just need to remember for my cue. Start cutting through it now, and well, okay, yeah, that should be fine. Just weaken it as much as possible. As she would just nod, going over to the tree and hardening her hands, as she begins to stab into it over and over again. She would get halfway through it and actually somewhat see that the tree is starting to give a bit, as she would walk around behind it and give a thumbs up, along with the other kid next to her. Deku, he would be ready, holding up his spear and immediately running forward. As he is tired and exhausted, he just wants to get this over with, so that they can go back. He's been awake for over 30 to 40 hours now. Well, 30 to 32. Now then, he would get this creature's attention, as it stares straight at him. Deku, he would throw down his spear for a second and immediately just grab an arrow, shooting it directly at this creature, hitting it in the side, getting its attention, as Deku would pick up the spear and turn and run, as he would just start screaming and waving it around in the air, which the other kids would immediately begin by starting to fire directly at this thing. They are missing their arrows, but some of them are at least hitting their points. The creature, it's that big. Deku, he immediately would just start running through the pathway as this thing actually just starts trying to attack the trees the kids are standing on. And they're basically holding onto it for dear life, since they don't want to fall and find out what happens. Now, Deku, he would have saw that, as he would turn around and immediately start charging forward. As soon as he gets close enough, he throws his spear with all he's got, stabbing it directly in the side as he sees, green blood start pouring out of this thing, as it would have screamed. This gathering quite a lot of the other kids nearby attention, since this thing was so loud. Now, it would turn its attention back to Deku as it would start running for him immediately running through the pathway, screaming, "Now, now, now," as Kirishima and the other girl would begin pushing this tree over with all they've got. Her using her cork to stab into the side of it and actually cut through it more, as the tree would go toppling over, and the two would smash onto this giant creature, breaking its back, as it's trying to move and actually get back up. It is stuck, and Deku would finally just drop to the ground and somewhat start laughing, as he would just give a thumbs up and just somewhat lay on the ground for a second. That was intense. Now, they would begin. They would take down the creature so it would not suffer, and try and figure out a good way to get it back to camp, which would be a bit difficult. So, they would decide that they at least need to have proper food first. Since this creature, that may have been what it is for. So they decide to do something that the Space Marines they may actually not like. They eat as much as they can of this creature after they cook it with fire, and they then pack up what they can of it and begin to head back. As any time they would run into other children or other people that are somewhat staring at them weird, Deku would have pointed in the direction that they came from, saying that there's more of it over there. They need to get what they can and they can probably come back. As they would have begun running. Now, this has been a full 2 to 3 days for them. They would arrive at close to midnight, as the Space Marines are still standing there. Seeing that these 4 or these 5 are the only ones to return so far, which would have impressed them quite a bit. They didn't realize that one of these creatures was already so close by. They expected to be halfway around the planet by now. So, this will be a bit difficult. If it was that close, then they are going to need to monitor the area more closely, as they would begin talking with the children, and properly get these supplies off of them. They would get changed, fed, and shower, which would be amazing to do after probably 3 to 4 days. Which they would then start resting and actually camping by the fire, as they're waiting for other people to start showing up. Now, more and more people would return. The Space Marines, they know exactly what these kids have done. They've taken part of another hunter's hunt. So they would have been ridiculed and actually told that they are going to be going through extra training. They were supposed to kill the creature themselves, which kind of confused the kids. The Marines explained that they've been watching the whole time. They've been using the ship to monitor each one of the kids, and the teams whenever they do form them, which makes it a lot easier for them, and their sensors. So, they would have done that and told these kids that they are going to be going out for another 2 weeks to hunt. Which they would have gotten angry. But listen. No, they would leave. As the entire week would pass, most of the kids, if not half of what he remembers there being, have returned. Each with a different one of the creatures on these lists. However, the kid that he remembers giving instructions to go get the part of the creature he killed, he has not seen in a while. So he is still hunting. Now then, that is going to be where I leave this part off, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.